Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will discuss different methods of proof. Generally, we get conditional statements like P implies Q to prove, or sometimes simple statements like P to prove. So, in this lecture, we will discuss various methods for proving such type of statements. Now start with trivial proof. Before describing trivial proof, I will go to the truth table of P implies Q. We are already aware about the truth table of P implies Q. So look at this. Whenever P is true, this is true, this is true. Second combination true and it is false, then P implies Q is false. When it is false, Q is true, this is true. When both are false, then it is true. So if you check this truth table, look at this. In these two cases, whenever this Q is true, means conclusion is true, P implies Q is also true. Means whenever conclusion is true, no need to check the truth values of P. So this is known as trivial proof. So whenever Q is true, P implies Q is already true. No need to check the truth values of P. This proof is known as trivial proof. Look at this example. Prove that if x is a negative integer, x raised to power n greater than 0 for n equal to 0. So this is the condition and this is conclusion. So here for n equal to 0, 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 x raised to power 0 equal to 1, and this is greater than 0. So this is true. It means conclusion is true. Therefore this statement is true. No need to check the condition. So this is known as trivial proof. Now vacuous proof. Again go to the truth table. Look at this. P implies Q. Whenever P is false, in these two cases, whenever P is false, this conditional statement P implies Q is true. It means now no need to check the conclusion. Whenever condition is false, P implies Q will be true, and in this case we will not check this conclusion Q. So this is known as vacuous proof. Here if you can show that the condition is false, then you can say the conditional statement is true. So here look at this example. Let x belongs to z plus. It means z is a positive integer. Now we have to show that, prove that if x is a negative integer, x raised to power 2n is greater than 0 for all n belongs to n. If you see, if x is a negative integer, this condition is false because x belongs to z plus. Now no need to check this one. It may be false, it may be true, but this conditional statement is true because whenever condition is false, the statement is true. This proof is known as vacuous proof. Direct proof. Whenever P is true and Q is true, when both are true, then you know that P implies Q is also true. So we will assume that P is true and we will show that Q is also true. Then this biconditional, this statement will be proved. So for direct proof, we will start with assuming P is true and we will show Q is also true. In this case, this conditional statement P conditional Q will be true. Now look at this example. Prove that the sum of two odd numbers is an even number. So here this part is a condition and there is a conclusion. So we will assume that this part is true and we will show that this part is also true. So let x and y, two numbers are odd numbers. So you can assume x equal to twice n plus 1, where n belongs to say any integer, say z, and y equal to twice m plus 1, say m belongs to z. So x and y are these two numbers, odd numbers. So we have assumed that x and y are odd numbers. Now find the sum of these two numbers x plus y. So you will get twice n plus m plus 2, and you can write it twice n plus m plus 1, which is an even number. Even number. So we have started by assuming that the condition is true and we have prove that the conclusion is also true. So this method is known as direct proof. Now, method of contradiction. We have to show that the conditional statement P implies Q is true, but we will assume that P implies Q is false. So if you see the table of P implies Q, look at this table. P implies Q. This is true, true, true. This is true, false, false. This is false, true, true. This is false, false, and true. So you will see in only one case, this is false. So if we are assuming that P implies Q is false, so we will assume P is true, but Q is false. And using this, we will show that we are getting a contradiction. We will get a contradiction. Now look at this. How can we do it? We will assume that P is true and Q is false. Q is false. Q is false means, this means negation Q is true. It means negation Q is true. Now taking this negation Q is true as the base, we will show negation P is true. How can we show this? Whatever the example or the problem is given to us, so we'll take the problem and using the problem or assumptions of the problem, whatever criteria is given in the problem, we will show whenever negation Q is true, negation P is true. Just we will take one example to show this type of implications. So here this is the general idea behind this method. So we'll start with negation Q is true and we will show negation P is true. Once we show negation P is true, it means this is equivalent to saying P is false. P is false. Negation P is true. This is equivalent to P is false. Now look at this. Here we are saying P is true, but here we are getting P is false. It means we are getting a contradiction, or in other words, you can say P is true and we are getting negation P is true. So P is true and negation P is also true. It means this is equivalent to false F. So we are getting a contradiction, and if we are getting a contradiction, it means whatever we have assumed, that is Q is false from where we have started, this is false. If this is false, what is true? If this is false means Q is true. So this is the correct. This is false because based on this assumption, we are getting a contradiction. It means Q is false. This assumption is not true. So what is true? So Q is true. This assumption is true. So now we have P is true and Q is true. When P and Q both are true, then we can say P implies Q is also true. Now we'll take one example. Look at this. Prove that if 3n plus 1 is an even number, then n is an odd number. So this is say P and this is Q. So assume let 3n plus 1 is an even number and n is, here we have to assume that negation Q is true, means this is false. If this is false, what is true? What will we assume? We will assume n is an even number. Even number. So this even number is the negation of this one. N is an odd number. So we'll assume this is true, but this is false. That is n is an even number. So n is an even number means you can assume let n equal to twice k, where k belongs to z, set of integers. So now we will calculate 3n plus 1. So 3n plus 1 equal to 3 into twice k plus 1, and this is 6k plus 1. And 6k, this is an even number. Even number plus 1, it means an odd number. Odd number. Look at this. 3n plus 1 is an odd number. Here we have assumed 3n plus 1 is an even number, and we are getting 3n plus 1 is an odd number. So this is the contradiction. If we assume this is true and this statement Q, negation Q is true, it means we are getting a contradiction. It means our assumption that n is an even number is false. So if it is false, then what is true? The true, what is true? True is means n is an odd number. So here you can write, assuming these statements we are getting a contradiction. It means our initial assumption that is n is an even number is not true. Therefore n is an odd number. So this is the method of contradiction. Sometimes we prove simple statements using method of contradiction. Suppose we have to prove P is true. Now we will start with assuming negation P is true. And with this assumption negation P is true, we deduct a contradiction F. Now look at this, negation P tautologically implies F. This is valid if negation P implies F is a tautology, or you can say this is true. So now look at this, in which case negation P implies F is true. So this value is F. So we have a choice for only this one. Now just go back to the conditional statement and you will find that when conclusion is false, and for this conditional statement to be true, this condition must be false. So only then this false false this will be true. So this means negation P is false. So if negation P is false, this is equivalent to saying P is true. So in this way, by assuming this, finally we deduct P is true. In simple words, you can say we will start with the contradiction statement. We will start the negation of the statement and we will show a contradiction and we will write that assuming negation P is true, we are getting a contradiction. That's why our initial assumption is not true. If initial assumption is not true, then its negation will be true and negation will be the given statement. Now look at this example. Here we have to prove that root 2 is an irrational number and we cannot prove it directly. So we will assume that root 2 is not an irrational number. It means root 2 is a rational number. So here we will assume let root 2 is a rational number, is a rational number. So we can assume root 2 this equal to P by Q. You know, if you assume the P by Q, then Q is not equal to 0 and P comma Q, P and Q have no common factor, no common factor, no common factor. Now utilize this, simplify it. You will get P equal to root 2 Q. Square both side, then you will get P square equal to 2 into Q square. Now look at this, P square equal to 2 into Q square. It means P square is an even number. Now if P square is an even number, we know that if a square of P is even number, it means P is also an even number. So you can write P is an even number. Now P is an even number, then you can write P equal to twice K, where K belongs to say an integer z. Now P equal to twice K. So you can write P square equal to 4K square. Now we will put the value of 4K square here. Say this is equation number 1. Now you can write K, putting P square equal to 4K square in 1, equation number 1. Then you will get 2Q square equal to 4K square. This implies Q square equal to 2K square, and in the same way you can write Q square is an even number. Now again, if Q square is an even number, then Q is also an even number. Now say P is a neighbor, say this is equation number 2, say this is equation number 3. Now from 2 and 3, P is an even number, Q is an even number. It means 2 is a common factor, is a common factor of P and Q. Now look at this. We have started with the assumption that P and Q have no common factor. But here we are getting 2 is a common factor of P and Q. It means this is a contradiction. We are getting using this assumption, we are getting a contradiction. It means our assumption root 2 is a rational number is not true. If it is not true, then its negation is true, and its negation is root 2 is an irrational number. And you have to define all this. You have to write all these things. So in this way, you can prove simple statements using method of contradiction. Proof by contraposition. Look at this. P implies Q. The contraposition of this is negation Q implies negation P, and this is equivalent to P implies Q. You can check it by making truth tables of P implies Q and negation Q implies negation P. So whenever we have to prove this conditional statement P implies Q, we can use its contraposition also. It means we can start with negation Q is true and we can show negation P is true. If we do so, automatically this P implies Q will be true because this is equivalent to negation Q implies negation P. This method is known as proof by contraposition. Now look at this example. Prove that if 3n plus 1 is an even number, so this part is P and this part is Q. So here we will assume from negation Q. Let n is an odd number, so we will start let n is an even number. Even number. So you can assume n equal to twice k, where k belongs to, we are talking about number, so if you take integers, so we can say k belongs to z, n equal to twice k. Now calculate 3n plus 1, 3n plus 1, this equal to 6k plus 1, and 6k plus 1, this is even, 6 plus 1 means odd number, so you can write this implies 3n plus 1 is an odd number, is an odd. Now look at this. This is basically negation of P. We have started with this is negation of Q. Now we reached at negation of P. It means negation of Q. This implies negation of P. We have shown this is true. It means this is equivalent. Since this is equivalent to P implies Q, so you can write if 3n plus 1 is an even number, then n is an odd. So this method is known as proof by contraposition. Sometimes we get different cases in condition. So look at this. This is P1 or P2 or up to Pn implies Q. This is equivalent to P1 implies Q and P2 implies Q and Pn implies Q. So in place of proving this, we prove this conclusion for each of these conditions separately. P1 implies Q and P2 implies Q and so on. So this method is known as proof by cases. Now look at this example. Here we have to show that x modulus x plus y is less than or equal to modulus x plus modulus y for all real numbers. So we can make different cases. Say case number 1, case 1, when x is greater than or equal to 0 and y is greater than or equal to 0. X greater than or equal to y greater than or equal to 0. So you can assume let x equal to, let x equal to m and y equal to n, where m and n are positive real numbers, where m and n are positive real numbers. Okay, we have taken both are greater than or equal to 0, so m and n are positive real numbers. So calculate modulus x plus y, this will give you m plus n. Now if you calculate modulus x plus modulus y, this will again give you m plus n. So in this case, modulus x plus modulus y, this is equal to modulus x plus modulus y. Now case 2, when x is greater than equal to 0 and y is less than 0, it means y is negative. So we'll start with let x equal to m and y equal to say minus n, where m n belongs to r plus positive real number. So we have taken this negative sign, that's why it will be less than 0, because n is, look at this, n belongs to r plus, this is positive number and we have put this negative sign here, so y will be a negative number. So calculate modulus x plus y, this equal to modulus m minus n, modulus m minus 1, and you know this equal to m minus n if m minus n is greater than equal to 0 and minus m minus n if m minus n is less than equal to 0, that is minus m minus n means n minus m. So you know there is a definition of modulus x. Modulus x is defined as x if x is greater than equal to 0 minus x if x is less than equal to 0. Now calculate modulus x plus modulus y. So here look at, this is modulus m plus modulus minus n, you will get m plus n. Here in, look at these two cases are there, m minus n or n minus m. In both of the cases, look at this, we will get modulus x plus y is less than modulus x plus modulus y because it is m plus n. So we will get modulus x plus y is less than modulus x plus modulus y. Similarly, case 3, you can assume when x is less than 0 and y is greater than equal to 0. And for case 4, we can assume when x is less than 0 and y is less than 0. So these two cases are left for you as an exercise and you can verify for these two cases also. So we have shown this identity for all real numbers for different cases. So in this way we can prove a given statement using different cases. Now sometimes it is required to prove a statement P for limited number of values. So if you can exhaust all these cases, if you can prove for all these cases or all these values, then you can say it is exhaustive proof. Now look at this. Prove that 2 raised to power n greater than equal to n square for n less than equal to 2. Here n is a non-negative integer. Non-negative integer means we have to prove for n less than equal to 2. It means only we have to prove for n equal to 0, n equal to 1 and n equal to 2, because n is a non-negative integer. Non-negative integer means it may be 0, 1 and 2. So only 3 values are there. So limited number of values are there. So we can prove this for all these 3 values. Now for n equal to 0. 2 raised to power n equal to 2 raised to power 0, this equal to 1. N square equal to 0. So you can write 2 raised to power n. 1 is greater than 0. Since 1 is greater than 0, so you can write 2 raised to power n is greater than equal to n square for n equal to 0. Similarly, for n equal to 1, you can write 2 raised to power n equal to 2 and n square equal to n is 1, this is 1. Since 2 is greater than 1, so you can write 2 raised to power n greater than n square for n equal to 1. For n equal to 2, you can write 2 raised to power n, this equal to 4, and n square, 2 square, this is n square, 2 square, you can write n square, this equal to 2 square is equal to 4. So you can write 2 raised to power n is equal to, 2 raised to power n is equal to n square for n equal to 2. So we have proved for all these cases 0, 1 and 2. So when limited number of cases are given, then you can prove the statement for all these cases. In this way you can prove the statement. This method is known as exhaustive proof. So I hope that you got the concepts of different methods of proofs and you can utilize whenever required to prove such type of statement.